Joining us is Peter Mathews, Professor of Political Science at Cyprus College in LA. A very good morning to you, Peter. President Joe Biden travelled to Kentucky to survey the damage.
Yes, he did. Tremendous damage, and over 88 people, at least 88 people have been killed in that horrendous event in those 5 states. Kentucky alone suffered 70 dead, and there were people in the Amazon warehouse that were killed. 6 people, I think it was, when the building collapsed. And here was a quick question that has to be raised, an important one, and that is, what are the rights of the workers to leave when they face danger? There was many allegations by workers in the candle factory in Kentucky and the Amazon factory in Illinois that they were told they could not leave until the supervisor allowed them to, and they were not allowed to before they died. This is a tremendous question of workers' rights and the needs for unions and strong presence of organized demands that workers can make for safety. It was a tremendous tragedy. It has to do with climate change, the severity of the storms, the extent of the devastation of over 200 miles in 5 states. Had never happened before. It happens to do with warming climates in the oceans and the atmosphere as well, and climate change is causing these things.
Looking at politics internally in the United States, Donald Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, could face criminal contempt charges in the latest show of force by the panel investigating the January 6 attack on the Capitol.
Well, certainly Mr. Meadows is uniquely positioned to provide a lot of information, and both the January 6th committee, the select committee in the House, voted to hold him in contempt of Congress. They sent out the full House. The full House voted in the majority to also hold him in contempt and to require the Justice Department to actually bring charges. And this is the next step that could happen, and it should happen, because he was there at the president's side. I mean, he's the chief of staff of the president of the White House, and there's a lot of information that he must have, and there were thousands of emails and text messages that he sent. He actually sent those to the committee to look over, but he wouldn't come and testify regarding those. But those emails and text messages were very revealing. One email said that if the email said that those who are pro-Trump supporters would be protected the next day. That was January 6th. It was sent on January the 5th saying that those who are pro-Trump supporters would be protected by the National Guard on January 6th. Very telling. That kind of information has to be brought out to find out who was conspiring, how many members of the House itself or the Congress itself was conspiring with these insurrectionists, and all of those outside the House conspiring. And this mostly Mr. Meadows can really provide this information.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Like, we're looking at pictures that are nearly 12 months old, and it doesn't matter how many times you look at them, they are just beyond belief.
They really are, and particularly in a country like ours, which we've never been used to this kind of thing happening at the capital of all places. You know, real violent insurrection to destroy the building which symbolizes our democracy, in which our government takes much of its decision-making, and a U.S. president sitting allegedly watching television, watching it on TV at the White House, wherever he was. 187 minutes. Liz Cheney, the Congressman Liz Cheney on the committee said there were 187 minutes in which has to be accounted for as to what was going on during that time with President Trump. And this is where we need to have more information. This has never happened before. It should never happen again. This is a total affront to democracy and a danger for free speech, free rule of law principle, the whole thing that we stand for.
No, absolutely. Now, looking at COVID cases in the United States, they've risen by about 30%. Joe Biden has issued a stark warning.
Yes, he has, and he really should, and we should all take it very seriously, because this 30% increase is staggering and is one of the largest increase in recent times. And it's not just the new Omicron variant. The Delta variant itself is alive and with us and is causing most of the rise in infections that are devastating and actually ending up in death. I mean, we're talking about 800,000 Americans have died from this from the very beginning, and more are dying every day. Over 1,000 are dying every day, and that's just unconscionable. And that's what the president says. We have to take this very seriously. We've got to mask up. We've got to have vaccinations. We've got to have booster shots. All of that, plus the world has to get vaccinated. We cannot forget the rest of the world, Tim, because if we don't vaccinate the whole world, if that's not done all over the world with the advent of easier vaccine access and patent access, then we're going to have this variant even mutate once again and come and attack us here. It's not just self-interest, but also common interest, which for humanity this should be done. Yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple line, isn't it? We're not safe till everyone's safe, and that is a global thing. What can you tell us about how the US is tackling the spread of this new Omicron strain?
Well, the way we're tackling it is, for example, California the governor announced a mandate for masks everywhere in indoor spaces that are in public. Everyone has to wear a mask now throughout the whole state. It was a big hodgepodge arrangement before this, where some counties we did have a mask mandate, other counties did not. Some schools did, some didn't. Now the whole state's under a mask mandate for indoor activity anywhere in public. And that's a really good thing and an important thing. And young people are getting vaccinated as well. Children from 5 to 11 and above that, and the adults are getting vaccinated, and we got to get more. We don't have enough people vaccinated, Tim. You got to have something closer to just smashing this new virus by getting vaccinations. Both the Delta and Omicron could hit you at the same time, and it's very dangerous all around.
Yeah, and people need to start getting those booster shots out here in Australia. They've reduced that time to 5 months. It's quite a simple process. I walked into a pharmacy yesterday, had booked the day before, got the Moderna shot to make it the third one. How easy is it in the US to do that kind of thing?
It's very easy. It's been made available. It's a matter of hesitancy and or recalcitrancy of those who don't want to look at the science and just go by it and get it over with. We're required to have other vaccines. Even to go to school, you have to have mumps and measles vaccines and rubella for children. And those public things were required for many, many decades now. And people have to get over this and get it done. It's very easy to get the vaccine. They just have to get over the hesitancy and get in there and get it done. There are public places, there are CVS pharmacies, different pharmacies are where it's available, and people just have to have the will to do it. And so the parents should insist on their children getting vaccinated that are eligible, because they can be spreaders as well.
Yeah, when you think of the gravity of the situation, it is such a simple process. Thank you so much, Peter Mathews, Professor of Political Science at Cypress College. We won't talk before Christmas, so have a wonderful Christmas with your family.
Merry Christmas to you, Tim, and to everyone in Australia and everywhere around the world.